Hello, today I'm going to be talking you through my resource that I created based around geologic geometry. So essentially what I've created here is a 3D contour map. So just to look at the kind of the main areas of it. If we look down and we look in at an elevation of it, we can see here that all of my contours are at equal heights to each other. So they're all at equal levels, stepping up. And this is the same way a contour would be, and we can see kind of the general shape um, of the land here that this contour would be representing. So we can have a hill shape in here, and then to go up into kind of a plan view of my contour map. Here we can see the different contours and how they're working. So we can see all of our different contours there of our small hill that we've created. And an area that this could be useful here is or an area that we could just reinforce some basic principles here is we can see that in a few areas it actually looks like this contour map or these contours are overlapping. So we can see an example of it here where it appears as if our top contour is overlapping our second contour, and we know that within a contour map that can't happen. So what we can do is we can reinforce the principle that if the spectator is standing at infinity, then we see the true shape. We don't see the perspective of these lines. So for example, if we were to extend our spectator further and further up, we can see that the area that looks like it's overlapping actually isn't. So that's just an area here that we can reinforce a few key principles within. And I think it's just useful for people to see how what they're seeing on a map is actually represented in 3D. So they can, within this model here, people can actually get up, they can put their hands on it, they can manipulate a few contours, see what that might create. So we know that definitely that this contour would be incorrect because we have contours overlapping here. So these two contours are sticking out over the edges here. And they can just kind of play around with it. They can create, maybe look at a few different contours, just some things like that there. And it's fairly sturdy as well. It's made out of steel and MDF, so there's not much chance of people breaking it. Returning just to an elevation of our 3D contour map. Here we can see that this resembles what pupils will be looking at when they are completing questions on a stratum of ore. So this could be used to reinforce those key principles of what they're actually looking at, why they draw level lines across instead of maybe perpendicular lines or diagonal lines. They can see from this 3D model why they're creating that. So if they're looking from the top, they could see their contour lines, and then if we move down to an elevation, which they would be taking, we can see that all these lines are level. And even if we're to look at an auxiliary, which they would be doing, they'd be looking along the strike, we can see all these lines are level still. So that's maybe a key resource that people could see from that there. And on top of this, we can also draw on our 3D model. So we can just draw a few key areas here. So imagine if I wanted to just maybe create a question for pupils based around this here, based around this 3D resource, I can, no bother. So say if I wanted to put a stratum of ore within my map, I can draw it in like this here, and then I can connect the dots like so. So I might have to go along a few different contours, but I still can do that nonetheless. So there you spin a wee bit, so you have to be a bit careful. Oh, so there's that one, and just draw on one more, just draw on this one here, back to our contour down here. And pupils can see then how the stratum would be operating. So they can see from this here just how that would function. So I'll not bother drawing in the last one, but you can see there, if I had my two hands free, I'd be able to draw it a bit more accurately. So I'll spin that around a bit. So there we go. We can see that there with relative ease. And so that's basically my 3D contour map model. I think it'd be very worthwhile for pupils to see, so they can visualize how these contours are actually operating. So I know they'll have some experience of looking at them within the junior cert geography syllabus, but there mightn't be the same emphasis put on visualization of contour maps. People could be just shown them and they wouldn't really understand what's going on. So here within this model, pupils can see what's how they operate and the key principles of them. So you know that we can't have a contour sticking out like this here because it would be incorrect. And I just think that this would be a very worthwhile resource for pupils to see. Kind of at the very start of this topic when they're engaging in it, so they can kind of get interested in what's happening here and what's going on. So that is my resource.